A salary is the drug they give you when they want you to forget about your dreams.
Welcome to the Corporate Dropout Podcast. I'm your host, Alacia Citro. If you're sick of the corporate hamster wheel and looking to feel inspired and empowered to live a high vibe life as your own boss, you're in the right place. Dare to drop out in 3, 2, 1. Before we start the show, I want to tell you about the business I'm launching. I know that entrepreneurship can feel lonely, but it doesn't have to. That's why I founded Thea Collective. Join our community today and meet your high vibe business tribe. Text TRIBE to 949-577-8709 or head to thea-collective.com to learn more. Hello, friends. So Mindset Monday episodes typically revolve around whatever is going on in my life or whatever is on my heart. And so I wanted to record today's episode that it is okay to change your mind, because recently I made a really big change. And while a lot of people probably think it's nuts or maybe I'm flaky or whatever, I'm here to debunk that. Okay, so let's get into it. So if you haven't been following me on social media lately, I recently made a really big decision, and I decided to leave a network marketing company that I've been part of, where I had built a huge team that had done multiple millions of dollars in revenue. And overall, this announcement was met with amazing support. I was actually shocked. But something I discovered in this process is that oftentimes we can be really resistant to changing our minds and ending commitments, and that sometimes other people can react pretty negatively when we do these things. So today's episode is all about why it's okay and actually a good thing to change your mind and pivot when it is right for you to do so. So why are us humans so committed to doing the same thing and upholding these commitments that we've made? Well, in Robert Cialdini's book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, he talks about the 6 principles of persuasion. They are reciprocity, consistency, social proof, liking, authority, and scarcity. In my opinion, the need to be seen as consistent is what keeps so many people tied to relationships, jobs, affiliations, and decisions, even when these things no longer serve us. And particularly if we've made these commitments publicly, we have an even harder time letting them go. So you're probably thinking like, well, what does that have to do with like persuading people? But, you know, it's like Alec Baldwin says in the movie, Glenn Ross, always be closing. Like whether you know it or not, you're always persuading people to, like you, listen to you, buy from you, believe you. Like you're always quote unquote, like selling or persuading. So that's why we have such a hard time letting go of consistency. And we fear if we do that, if we break commitments and thus the consistency that comes with it, then we're going to be seen or labeled a flake or flighty, or that we can't commit to anything, that we are unreliable. But this simply isn't the case. I mean, I'm sure that there are some times when people are like changing their mind every 2 minutes, like maybe that feels a little flaky. But if a thoughtful decision has been made, it is okay to change your mind. So I'm going to give you kind of a funny example of this that really sticks with me. So back in 2004, George W. Bush and John Kerry were running for president. For some reason, the mud that got slung at John Kerry sticks with me to this day. They would run ads calling him a quote unquote flip-flopper. And they would cite all these different times that he had changed his mind on policy or made contradictory statements. And look, like maybe this isn't the best example because I do see a need for some consistency in some areas when it comes to elected officials. But isn't it interesting how our society puts such a premium on keeping the same opinion? I mean, I'm sure you can think of examples of this too, where someone changed their opinion from what it was before and now they get demonized. And so here's the thing. I believe we need to normalize changing our minds when presented with new information. again, I know I just gave a political example and I do not want to get political on the show, but you could definitely make the argument that we're seeing this happen with a lot of the COVID mandates, right? Like, I think part of why some of these states have stayed locked down is because people went so hard on like, this is what we're doing, we need to stay locked down, that now they feel like they can't backtrack from it, or they're going to be seen as, you know, a flip-flopper. Again, we'll use that word. I also think we really need to normalize and celebrate people leaving behind what's no longer serving them. Like, make an assessment. Is whatever served you before serving you now? If it's not, let it go in love and gratitude. Whatever it is, it got you to where you are right now. It provided lessons that are going to enable you to go to the next level. And so, like, I'm going through some personal stuff right now where, like, I made a pretty big error. And it's been, I thought I had done a lot of work. And I have, but there were some like demons that I thought had been conquered. Like, no, sure enough, like they're still there. Like, this negative self-talk is like really not good. So it's like, okay, that mistake happened, that error happened, but like, how can I be gentle with myself and be grateful for the lessons that will come out of it and the growth that will happen after the fact? And that can be really hard to see when you're in it, but we have to let go the things that no longer work and not to be afraid to do that. I want to give you another example that I absolutely love. So one of my business mentors and a business coach that I work with, Dr. Melissa Hinault, she posted something recently on Instagram that I thought was very fitting to share on this episode. And it was a cartoon of a caterpillar and a butterfly that were sitting at a table. And the caterpillar says to the butterfly, "You've changed." And the butterfly replies, "We're supposed to." You guys, we're supposed to. We're all butterflies. We just might be like in the cocoon still. Maybe we haven't gotten our wings just yet, but we're all supposed to turn into butterflies. But the problem is that like change is scary. We also feel a lot of external pressure to not change. Maybe it's, maybe it's fabricated in our own minds. Maybe it's external pressure from other people, but we have to let go of all of that and be true to what we know is right for us and what that next step is. So with that, I invite you to examine areas of your life where change and changing your mind would serve you. Is it in patterns or behavior or thoughts that are keeping you from stepping into the highest version of yourself? Is it in judgments, perhaps, that you have made against someone for an opinion that they've had? And now that relationship has been fractured, but you want to repair it. Like, maybe it's time to change your mind on that and to open up the dialogue again. Could it be welcoming in healthy habits? Maybe it's making your bed, reading, journaling, exercising. Is it cutting back on things that don't serve you? Like what you consume, whether that's too much TV, alcohol all the time, unhealthy food, news, social media. Could it be changing where you hang out and who you hang out with? Could it be setting boundaries? Could it be creating intentionality in your everyday, in the mundane? Like creating an intention before you eat that you hope that this meal will nourish you physically, emotionally, spiritually. Could it be setting an intention to be prioritizing your partner more? Like there's so many things that we can do to change that will really help us hit that next level and a happier and more fulfilled life. So whatever it is, do not be afraid to change or to change your mind or your opinion. It is a necessary step in evolving into who we're meant to be. And the more that you do it and courageously, the more you're going to give permission for other people to do the same. So your courage is going to have a ripple effect. So be the change. Going back to like the butterfly thing, right? Like start the butterfly effect. Now the only constant's change. So just embrace it. Enjoy the ride. So with that, thank you for listening. We'll see you back on Wednesday. This episode was brought to you by Thea Collective, the learning community I founded for entrepreneurs. Text BIZ, that's BIZ, to 949-577-8709 or head to thea-collective.com. That's THEIA-collective.com to learn more. Thanks for listening to the show. If you enjoyed today's episode, please help me get the word out about the corporate dropout by screenshotting and sharing this on social. I would appreciate it so much if you would subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and review as well. And I do this show for you, and I want to hear from you. So tell me, what is it that you want more of? Text me at 949-541-0951 or slide into the DMs at Corporate Dropout Official or Alacia Citro with 2 underscores. Until next time.